Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is a news and prophecy video dealing with Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, addressing the General Assembly, the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And this speech basically is quite a weird speech in terms of all the things surrounding Boris Johnson, the UK, Britain, with the Brexit going on. Brexit being a British exit or Britain exit from the EU, European Union, which basically is prophecy spoke of in Daniel's second chapter, all right? And with this prophecy being spoke of in Daniel's second chapter, it was given to Nebuchadnezzar in a dream, right, which he actually forgot, if my memory serves me correctly, or he even said like that to make sure that he's not being lied to. Basically, tell me what the dream is, and then tell me the interpretation of it. And his soothsayers and his first line of spiritualists that were in Babylon at the time couldn't answer him, but the Most High, through the power of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Harakah, Kadash, gave the interpretation unto Daniel to give unto the king, which this is going back to the time of Babylon and is playing out in this day and age before our eyes. Okay, so that's what's going on. But the speech that was given by Boris Johnson was nothing alluding to that. As great as a thing it is happening right now, he took this chance addressing the General Assembly on the world stage to basically speak about technology, all right, and how the far different advances that were made over dealing with the Industrial Revolution, steam engines, different forms of primary technologies leading up to this digital technology, how great it was. It changed the times, okay, and basically spoke about how this again is changing the times. But again, really weird him addressing this, but obviously as an agenda, it's not that weird because we understand through the Bible, the Spirit of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Harakah, Kadash, that these things being spoke of is priming the minds of the people for something to come later on down the line, leading into the time of Jacob's trouble, okay, where these major prophecies are going to come to pass. And as you can see, that at the front of the at the head of the article is Terminator, right? So let's get into it. So this is from Futurism. It says 5 insane quotes from Boris Johnson's bizarre UN speech about tech. Sounds like British Prime Minister Boris Johnson watched too much Black Mirror or fired his speechwriter. Right? So they're insinuating that Boris Johnson's wacky, and he does come across wacky. I think he's a character, just like Donald Trump's a character. But he's let's not get lost in the man wearing a mask. The man wearing a mask, but the mask, the mask remains the same. Okay, he's still going forth for the same agenda. Don't get lost in the fact that it's a different man in front of you now, at the front of the house. Okay, and now they're undermining him by saying he watched too much Black Mirror. Now the thing with Black Mirror, it operates under something known as predictive programming, which is utilized which is something that the elites use to basically prime the minds of the people, ready the minds of the people to basically, seek onto what? I mean, not to seek onto what? They ready the minds of the people for the New World Order. That's the reason why they do it, right? So all those things shown in Black Mirror basically are foretelling or are current situations that basically are playing out upon the earth, and basically, in a esoteric kind of a dark saying, a parabolic form of something that is to come or something that presently is happening. Okay. So Johnson gave a bizarre speech at the United Nations General Assembly in New York about the future of evil AI, limbless chickens, and pink-eyed Terminators, even threw in a Brexit joke, which, the timing of the speech is a real head-scratcher. It hasn't even been 24 hours since the UK Supreme Court ruled that Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament for 5 weeks was unlawful. Right, so this guy gangstered his way into a meeting with he didn't gangster his way into a meeting with the Queen, but he got a meeting with the Queen and gangsters his way into basically shutting down Parliament by asking her for a blessing, and she gave the go ahead. All right, and it's kind of made it. It's not kind of. It's making her look like a fool, because she, people say, "Oh, poor Queen," but really, as a ruler of the people, she should have had someone to advise her on that decision. But this just shows you how, Proverbs 29:2, man, when the righteous are for it, the people rejoice, but when the wicked it basically beareth rule, the people mourn. All right. So reading on, opposition Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn even asked Johnson to resign following the defeat on Tuesday, a move that would make him the shortest serving Prime Minister of all time. Despite the turbulence, Johnson decided to throw caution to the wind and go out with a bang with an unhinged speech only the likes of Donald Trump could have come up with. Yeah, because basically Boris Johnson's a counterpart, the British counterpart to Donald Trump. It's befitting that both Donald Trump and Boris Johnson are the present rulers over the UK. The mother of America has Boris Johnson, and the daughter of the UK has Donald Trump. Both related and both have the same form of leadership over them. All right, to show just how unhinged Johnson's rambling speech was, here's a selection of choice quotes. But it's worth watching the whole thing because it's more congruent. It makes more sense when it's listened all in one context, basically. A future Alexa will pretend to take orders, but this Alexa will be watching you clucking her tongue and stamping her foot. Alexa, of course, being Amazon's smart assistant, gaining conscience and seemingly turning into a chicken. In the future, voice connectivity will be in every room and almost every object. Your mattress will monitor your nightmares. Your fridge will beep for more cheese. Your front door will sweep wide the moment you approach, like some silent butler. We all know that the Internet of Things is adding connectivity to almost any household item out there, but language like this seems needlessly inflammatory and cynical. Does your smart assistant listen to practically anything you say? Yep. Will your mattress monitor your nightmares? Seems doubtful. But you see, if you want to be simple and take what he's saying on face value, then do that. But really what he's saying is all, dark sayings. What he's basically saying is that your mattress will monitor your nightmares. So they'll monitor you over you while you sleep, right? Because, they're aware of the scriptures that the Most High seals instruction into the minds of a man, tells you in the book of Job, whilst they sleep, so that, they may plan out their day to go a certain manner. But the Most High power, Yahweh Hashem El Shai, he's going to make sure that the people do what he says. So they're hoping that, they can, through the algorithms and the different monitoring apps that they have, that everyone and their mother has on their phone, they'll see different wave patterns and basically interpret it for whatever their means of profit is. All right, and that's really what it means, man. That's how I'm interpreting what he's saying. He's saying total control. AI, what will it mean? Helpful robots washing and caring for an Asian population, or pink-eyed Terminators sent back from the future to call the human race? All right, and basically the latter, because according to first and foremost, not even, it says in Revelation 12:12, the devil knowing that he has but a short time cometh down with great wrath. All right, and even just Esau's MO is death, man. All right, murder, killing, heaping up to himself much wealth, So, and then in the Georgia Guidestones, the first commandment is to maintain human population in in balance, as he calls it, by having 500 million people upon the face of the earth, which you're talking about killing 7.5 billion people, which ain't no light thing. That's a lot of death. That's a lot of blood. All right. So these are things that are being said that are part of the agenda. But obviously, with a man as Boris Johnson being at the front of the house, it does seem quite cynical and quite, playful in him saying this. What will synthetic biology stand for? Restoring our livers and our eyes with miracle regeneration of the tissues, like some fantastic hangover cure, or will it bring terrifying limbless chickens to our tables? And is terrifying limbless chickens a reference to recent trend of lab-grown meat? It's hard to tell. No, it ain't hard to tell. That's what it's talking about. You've had memes where they're showing images of KFC's chickens apparently being some lab-grown chicken that basically don't have no eyes, all right, which is basically just, don't have no feathers or nothing, or barely grows any feathers, and basically is just ready to be, killed, and then just makeshift pieces of chicken. So these are the things he's saying. He's saying he's painting the dynamic. All right, he's showing the two sides of the spectrum. One being that it can be used to to create, regenerate tissues, different things, organs and whatnot for people that are in need of these things, or it can just be used to harvest, make chickens for capitalism. But guess what? Both of those things, the reason why the first you're dealing with like synthetic biology, yeah, it's gonna do that, but they're gonna make them an abundance for the elites, all right? Because if you didn't know, organ transplants is big business. Then those that's a 6-figure big business, man. It costs a lot of money to get those, and then synthetically made ones don't think they ain't gonna hike up the prices. So these things, and even we're talking about now. We're talking about, if we're also on the other side of things, if we're talking about limbless chickens, lab grown meat and whatnot. Let's think about the idea that, just take a drug dealer for example. They will create a drought because they have a monopoly over the drug trade, and then when they create that drought, what happens? The prices hike up, man, because of a great demand due to a lack of supply. The prices go up, and then it changes the whole outlook of the market. Same thing with my mind. I'm moving too fast, man. Excuse me. Same thing with the food, man. Let's get to the point. The same thing with the food. They have a monopoly over it because they're making the food, and they can just implement a famine at any measure. And really, ultimately, the famine they'll create is one for the RFID chip being the mark of the beast, saying, look, man, if you want food, you got to take this RFID chip or we won't give you no food. And then they can go about destroying your livestock, your crop and whatnot, because they know they have a huge inventory of animals and whatnot. Synthetic flesh. Should the machines and only the machines decide whether or not we are eligible for a mortgage or insurance, or what surgery or medicines we should receive? Are we doomed to a cold and heartless future in which computer says yes or computer says no, with the grim finality of an emperor in the arena? All right. So that's talking about an algorithm being run to decide the fate of your life. All right. There have been a number of debates over the question of whether the machine should determine if somebody should die or not. Are the computers about to take away our ability to call the shots? Not even close. Our takeaway as Johnson continues to peer into the future, maybe he should elevate his own political career. Now, they didn't address none of the points that he addressed, and that's why I suggest you actually watch the video, all right? Because he brings it home, he ties it in, and then concludes that he says, look, what he's basically saying is, look, we have the opportunity to now, take a hard line and create an Orwellian state, or create a quote-unquote democratical utopia where they'll debate who, the level of freedoms that can be, enjoyed by this new technology. But really, we know they're going with the primary one, being that, the prior one being that they want to set up an Orwellian state, all right, and have total control of the people. But he's just putting this out there to allow the people to know, all right, because that's what the elites do. Their whole front, their whole MO is to front like they're the Most High. And the Most High operates with one thing known as prophecy, all right? Because that prophecy actually, is a hard line to show the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because before he does anything, he says he's going to do it. And then when it comes to pass, that then becomes a testimony of that prophecy, which really is, that's, Revelation 19 and 10 tells you that, which basically the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. What basically is the proof of Yahweh Hashem Shai is the spirit of prophecy, and that basically is where the wisdom is found, because it's prophetic sayings, but at the same time, even down to the laws, everything in the scriptures, man. I'm kind of ranting, man, but I want to just you know what? I don't even think I need a scripture on this one, but you know where it is with this. This is just the foretelling of the end, okay? Them saying, you know what? Actually, I think it's in this chapter. Yep, it's right there. I'll read this. This is I'll just read these few scriptures here just to get to the point, right? So this is Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. This talking about the beast, all right, with the 7 heads and 10 horns. And this is going back to his prior time of being the Roman Empire, all right, when it was wounded, unto death. And it basically was subdued, and then you had the Holy Roman Empire. You had what they call the so-called Dark Ages, and then this went on to happen. And his deadly wound was healed, which is the Renaissance, the rebirth. Okay, and all the world wondered after the beast. Once it was reborn, it came in the same spirit, and the whole world went, basically followed it. Right, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave the power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast?" The dragon being the Roman Empire, and that's how in awe they were, that they started to worship. Say who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him. Excuse me. And it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwelt in heaven. And that's what's happened. Even this article, these things that are being said is basically, this is false prophecy, man. Because this is part of the doctrine of Esau, which basically speaks against the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Alright? So he opened his mouth with blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name. And that's what they've done. They've taken the name of the Heavenly Father Yahweh in vain, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. What's his tabernacle? The tabernacle is the children of Israel, man. Alright? You know? And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power is given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Alright, and that's where we're at. Alright, so with that, man, I pray